now to your regularly scheduled program.
So, round two?
Round two, conventions, baby.
Ooh, convention weekend.
So last weekend was Monster Mania 43. You know how much we love it here at DNC.
I just love making fun of you for going and having, crazy experiences. But
I will say it wasn't nearly as bad as the last couple. There just wasn't as much of a crowd, thankfully. Like the Friday crowd was back to being a normal Friday crowd. The center of the hotel was not jam-packed with people. You could get in and out. There wasn't like any fire code hazards or anything like that. There wasn't long lines to just get into a room. So thankfully that the crowds really died down. And I don't know, maybe that's a result of having such shitty shows the last few times. Or maybe it was just a sign of the guest list. I don't know, but it definitely was not as crowded.
Well, to me, it sounds like a lot of people have been pretty angry over the last 2 to 3, right? That I would see that as an indication of the guest list not being that great. I think that's part of like the crappy shows. Maybe some guests are like, I'm not doing it. I've heard so much of that's a shit show. I'm not going to do it, because it turns into a nightmare for the guests too. If you delay with lines that you don't know how to form, it delays them making money, right? It delays their schedule of doing things there. So they might, get a bad reputation as a convention. It filters out. That's all I'm saying. Continue.
So, of course, it starts off with a problem right off the bat. I get an email like the week of the show saying, we understand you ordered a bracelet in advance so you don't have to wait in the long line, but we forgot to mail the bracelets. So I don't have a bracelet to get into the show. So not that big a deal. I mean, they opened it up early for the tickets. At 3 o'clock, I could go just pick up my ticket. You just had to show them your email that they sent saying, to pick it up. I didn't really have to wait in line for it because they said just move to the front of the line. But again, can you just keep track of your mailing list? Like, how hard is that? It just looks so unprofessional.
Did you pay extra for this bracelet?
You pay just for like the shipping and processing, which they did credit back. Okay. And I could actually check my credit card statement because I didn't actually check to see if they actually credited or not.
Oh, I would. I wouldn't trust them.
So it's like, $7 or whatever just for the online thing. So it's like, hey, $7 cheaper, whatever. I'll take it. But again, like really, you couldn't mail it.
Yeah.
And then the bracelet
I forgot.
Still,
I don't get it.
The bracelets still don't scan right. So like you're holding up. I mean, the line that was little wasn't that big a deal, but it's like, why do you have to hold it up at all? Like it's just making people irritated. They just want to get in the room, and you can't get in because they don't scan. Who's faking these badges anyway? Like we were at Keystone, you have that badge on your chest. They don't scan anything. Nobody's faking the badge.
No.
You come in, you go out, easy peasy. There's no wait. You just walk right in. Every other convention does it that way in the world. Here we have to scan them. What does the scanning even do? If I wanted to take my bracelet off and have you tape it on, you could still scan it.
Yeah.
It doesn't deactivate. And the irritating thing about this show is there's 2 main entrances into the show. So when you leave, you could be at one part of the convention. You're not even leaving the show itself, but you just want to go to the other part. Well, you have to get rescanned. So if you're trying to keep inventory of people and account, that's not going to work because you're not even leaving the show. You're just going to a different part of it, and you need to get rescanned. And you don't get scanned on your way out, so they don't know whether you left or didn't leave.
Dude, this is the most disorganized place you've gone to. And I live vicariously through you through some of these conventions. But this one is always a shit show of some sort. It's just what level of shit are you going to step in? How many inches of it? Right off the bat.
And then I love they have a third part of the show, too, that's like just vendors only. They very seldom even have anyone checking for badges at all there. So you could just walk in even if you don't have a ticket. But if you do and there's somebody sitting there, they never have the scanner there. So they're just like, oh, your badge is good. Just go in. Well, it's like, if it's good for that area, why can't it be good for the other vendor area? And then what pisses me off is like you walk through the vendor area to get to the autograph room and they're asking, show your badge, show your badge. How do you think I got in through the fucking vendor room in the first place? I don't understand that. But it's really annoying. Like, again, the things don't work. And then, I mean, you were saying, you alluded to it a little bit earlier. you don't know how to run a line. So I'm waiting for Skeet Ulrich. And it's not that bad a line. There might have been like 60, 70 people, let's say. But you literally taped off on the floor a spot for 5 people. I'm pretty sure Skeet Ulrich's going to have more than 5 people in his line. He's bigger than that. He's on fucking Riverdale right now. You know, he's a major part of Scream. He's going to have more than 5 people.
Sure.
So I get in there, and I have no idea who's in line, who's not in line. There's multiple lines running together. So I asked the guy, where am I supposed to stand? And he goes up, and he's like, I don't know. I don't know who would be next. So I start asking people, and this line makes no sense. So usually when a line snakes, it goes left to right, left to right, left to right, back and forth, all the way back, however many rows you want to make. Well, this one, like 3 or 4 rows snake like east and west. And then there was like 10 rows that snaked north and south. And then after those rows, there might have been like kind of like a diagonal row because they ran out of room. And they're like, well, let's make you diagonal between these other lines. And who forms a line that doesn't even face the direction of the guest you're meeting? I go, dude, this is the most fucked up line I have ever seen. And he goes, don't take the tone with me. He's like, we're out of space. There's nothing I can do. And he comes up to it, and I go, the fact that you don't know who's next in line says you don't know how to run a line because you don't know where to even tell me where to stand. So when you're responsible to tell people where to line up and you can't, your line's fucked up.
You're lucky you didn't get thrown out of such a fine convention.
Well, it was just like one of these dorks on a power trip, but then there was like 20 other people in line that were like, bro, your line don't work. No, this makes no sense. We're confused too. Like this is stupid.
Do you think he was like, he just couldn't admit that he's an idiot? You know,
I think he honestly couldn't. He didn't know.
Like, no, my line's perfect, man. I got the most perfect line here. I'm in charge of Skeet Ulrich's line, man. I got the line down. I just don't know where everybody should be.
Oh my, it was bad.
Dude, you were still not selling me on going to this fucking place.
It was bad. So I guess the line for Clive Barker was a total disaster too. Not necessarily the line itself. Like it lined up outside, not a problem. But my buddy waited in line. He got there, and he had to wait 2.5 hours in line for Clive Barker. Now you're thinking, well, he probably has a long line, right? 2.5 hours isn't terrible. It's terrible when you're 10th in line.
What, did he not show up, or does he take like 10 minutes for each person?
He's super sick, so like I can understand that. Like I'm not going to give the guy a heart problem. Like he looks like he's literally ready to die. Like people were posting pictures. I didn't even know it was Clive Barker.
Wow.
But if you're going to take the time to wheel him around and whatever you got to do, like maybe accommodate for that or tell people or take a number system that it's going to be that delayed. Hey, maybe enjoy parts of the other show. We'll call your number.
Yeah, like the deli counter.
So he had like a photo op right at 5 o'clock when the show starts, which is stupid to begin with. And then I guess after his photo op, he took a break because, again, I guess he's sick and tired, whatever. So then he goes up to the room. He signed for like a small group of VIP people, and then he wanted to go for dinner. You just started at 5 o'clock. It goes 5 to 10. Nobody takes a dinner break on Friday nights. Like maybe eat at 4:30.
Bring a granola bar.
Again, he waited.
Bring a snack with you, old man.
So my buddy luckily went up to the manager and was like, "Listen, I got to go to work. I can't wait. If you were going to make me wait, he's missing out on however much money, like $120. I think it was $60 an autograph, and he wanted 2 things. So it's like either make the 120 or I'm out of here. And they let him through, luckily for him. But 2.5 hours to go like 10 people. What is the deal?
Yeah, but see, even though if you don't understand that the man is sick or whatever, it's still the story of, I waited 2.5 hours and I was 10th in fucking line. And that's what other guests are going to hear. Like, what the fuck happened at the show? You know, the show's reputation has to go down.
It's not necessarily Monster Mania's fault, but at the same time, you could communicate and like give the people updates, give them news on what's actually happening.
Right. I'm not
like, hey, it's easier to wait in line when you're like, he's not in the room right now. He's sick. He went to dinner because of whatever. He'll be back in an hour. Then at least you're like prepared. I'm waiting. I know what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, you know, it's Monster Mania's fault, but their fault, like you said, is the communication. There's nothing worse than going somewhere, waiting in line, and not hearing anything. You know, it's like, what the fuck's going on? You know, is he gonna come back? Is he, you know, did he go home for the night? What the fuck? Did he just cancel? Whatever. If they do nothing, at that point, the onus is on the promoter and the show, whatever, whoever's there to say, hey, we know he had to, like you said, he had to step out. He had to take a break. Well, you know, maybe we'll do this for you while you're waiting or something. You know, throw people a bone, for Christ's sake. Don't leave them fucking hanging. That's where the fucking show fails.
Or hand out a number system and say, listen, he is on break for an hour. We understand it's an inconvenience. I'm giving you numbers. Come back in an hour. I will line you up in the numerical order. That way you're not wasting your time and everybody still gets what they want.
Yeah. Be creative. Think of something.
Isn't that like accommodating fans?
Yeah.
I don't run a show and I can figure this shit out. Like, it's not that hard.
That's where it shows that they don't care. That's my point. So what other debacle happened there?
It wasn't all bad. Out of the other people we met, Eldon Henson, he was from Mighty Ducks. He's the one Disney movie I like, which is the one you don't like. So how ironic.
I never said I didn't like it. It's just okay.
But he was there, and of course he's Foggy and Daredevil, so that was kind of cool. Much smaller guy in real life than he is in the movies. Like, he's kind of skinny, kind of looks like real pudgy on the show. I mean, he's a little pudgy in person, but not to the size you would think. Dressed real trashy, I guess, if you want to say that. Like, real ripped up jeans, just like regular t-shirt. He looks like he's living in the city, just stepped off the bus, you know?
Right on.
The other guy we met with Devin Sawa from Final Destination. He's the main guy. He's also in a cool Disney movie, Little Giants. They were cool, but the guy, I didn't even meet him, was James Wong. That fucking guy stole the show, man. He's like 91 years old, I guess.
He looked 91 when he was doing movies.
I can't believe he's that old. I mean, he literally looks like he's like 60. He had more energy than anybody in the place. I mean, he was getting up and reenacting scenes and lines from Seinfeld, from Big Trouble in Little China. He was doing like these karate moves with people. I mean, if you're a fan of him and you're a fan of that movie, imagine going up to him and reenacting scenes from Big Trouble in Little China, and he's doing all the kung fu moves and the noises and all that shit. Like, it was really neat. And like, there's a guy who loves his fans. Sure.
He's not just sitting there like, oh, I just got off the plane. I can't believe I'm sitting here. Hi, how you doing? Where's your poster? Were there people like that?
And that was Skeet, who's like 50 years younger. And he was like, looked like he's strung out on coke, and he's just like, I'm tired, man. I can't believe I'm here. And he was just like, the way he was hyping up the crowd. I mean, his line was so active, and like, his line was pretty long because he was taking time with people and reenacting the scenes and stuff. So it took a while, but not a single person looked like they were mindful in line because it was entertaining.
Oh,
and he's like, you know, making his arms in the air, like, come on, let's get pumped up. And then all go dead silent. And then he'd start pumping them up again. It was like, you know, what they do at a rock show.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really cool, man. It's just like, there's a guy, awesome, and he's 91. If he can do it, all these other people should be doing it. It's like, if everybody was like that, imagine how much fun it would be.
Oh, yeah. And that's what sometimes I think, like, celebrities, not all of them, but there's a handful out there that got to remember, we are the people that put you there. Yeah, you put in a lot of hard work, and I understand that. But without your fans, you're nobody, you know? And here's a guy what was the last thing he was in that anybody really knows? It's been a long time. But he has a following, and he entertained. And really sounds like he appreciated the people that showed up. Not, oh, I can't believe I'm here. I'm so tired. Fuck that.
I mean, honestly, like, watching him, it's like, I wish I had a Big Trouble in Little China poster. I would have got it signed, you know? And hey, the other guy we saw this weekend, he missed out on an autograph because he was such a dick, we didn't get him.
That's right.
You know, that's the way it goes. So it's like, be nice to people who are probably going to make more money. But other than that, it kind of made me sad because I saw Shawnee Smith there and Ashley Lawrence. They were such hotties back in the day, and they're like so old now. I'm getting old with them, and it's just like, man, they just look old. They're like ragged. It's really sad.
You're going to look ragged one day. I hate to tell you that.
I know. And dude, Ric Flair was there.
Oh my God.
He's in like a world of trouble, man. He made this face. You know when old people stick their tongue out and they kind of go like cross-eyed when they're like really concentrating on like trying to open a pill bottle or something? I know this is really bad age discrimination, but whatever. And they like stick their tongue out and they're like, ugh. He did that for every autograph he signed. I was like, Rick, you're really losing it, man.
Well, look how many blows to the head that motherfucker had. You know, like the dude was wrestling into his 60s, you know, like still, man.
I think he only speaks in woos now. He's like Groot. He just says, I am Groot. He just does like different versions of woo, and it's all forms of communication.
Woo.
Woo, 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 woo.
That means that he has to go for a piss break.
Like, oh my God.
And I still don't get wrestlers, dude. Every convention in this Pennsylvania, New Jersey corridor has wrestlers. But
yeah, it's big here.
Whatever.
He was walk right up, man. Like, literally, there might have been 3 people in his line.
He was last year, too.
Most of these people only had about 20 people in their line. So James Wong and Ulrich were a little bit longer. They might have had like 50. And I think that was really only because Skeet was about an hour late, as is normal for this show. And then, like I said, James Wong just took so long with everybody. But, you know, when we met Eldon Henson's walk right up, Shawnee Smith, like 20 people. The only line that was crazy and which continues to amaze me, Robert Englund was there yet again. He's done hundreds of shows, if not thousands. His line was capped with just the VIPs.
What?
So if you didn't have a VIP ticket, you could not get him. And there was not much of a crowd Friday, so I can't imagine they had that many VIPs. But the line was capped for that, and his autograph is now $100. When I got him, however many years ago, he was $30. So his price is that high, and people still want to pay it, and he sells out. I don't understand it. It's like if you don't have him by now, you don't want him.
And how does that make his autograph even worth something? The dude signs thousands a year, probably. Thousands and thousands. It's worth nothing.
Well, apparently it's worth $100.
I don't know. People are suckers then to pay that. It's almost worthless. Sorry. I like Robert Englund, but let's face facts.
It's crazy.
I agree, man.
So that's all I had. I mean, it was a little better than the last ones, but there's still a lot to be worked on, obviously.
So the big question is, you are going to the next one, correct? No matter what.
Yeah, well, they have another one in October in Hunt Valley. I probably won't go to that. I usually don't, but they do have a decent Scream reunion going on. But I'll definitely go back in March. So
they still can't steer you away. You still go back for more punishment.
I do, and they're actually adding an additional show. They will have 4 shows next year instead of 3. Wow. And they recycle so many guests. I don't know how they can even do a 4th show. Like, who are you going to get new?
Got me, man. They're just, I don't know, beating it to the ground. Still popular. Horror's popular.
It's like everything else, man. You run it to the ground. Whether it's a movie, a toy, it don't matter. Convention, you just run it to the ground.
every property does it. We do it. That's our society, dude. We've talked about this before. We run it all to the ground. We're knee-jerk reaction type people, and we run everything to the fucking ground. It's what we do. So is that all you got for Monster Mania? You got any other fun little things from there?
No, let's get on to Keystone, man.
Keystone Comic Con 2019, second one. We went last year.
Second one. They hooked us up with the press passes, so thank you, Keystone. Fine people there.
Yep. Thank you very much for remembering us and allowing us to come back. It's always a fun trip down to Philly to the convention center there on Arch Street. You know, we took a road trip in the old Subaru, cruising down, listening to some Ween on the way. I know you were into it, even though you probably had no clue what I was playing. You probably wanted me to turn it the fuck off.
I wanted to stab my eardrums, but I almost choked myself with my press badge bandolier thing.
That'd be kind of hard to explain why I'm driving around with a dead body in the car.
We could have reenacted like Weekend at Bernie's, and you just like prop me up and like pretend I'm digging through books.
Oh, nice. Yeah, could have taken all the cash out of your pocket and
Yeah.
gotten some books. Nice. I remember that for next
Nice.
time. But it was a good trip down. It was fun. A little rainy start, but no big deal. Cruised down the extension down to Philly and parked the car. And the best thing about this year was I was not gimping around. I did not need my cane like I did last year. I was able to move around. It was so much better to be able to to move and not have to fend off homeless people with my cane.
There's a lot of them there, dude. It's like kind of out of control.
Yeah, I think there was more this year than last year. And
But by far, like, it's pretty bad. I mean, when I went Sunday too, it was even worse.
ugh.
Like, I don't know how you become homeless on just the weekend, but
That's where the money's at.
yeah, exactly.
Panhandling and stuff. No, so we got down there decent time and stood in line, and it was in a different section of the convention center. It was a different building, second floor again, and we got there and there was a pretty decent line to get in, I thought. But we waited 35, 40 minutes. We got there that early and got in no problem. Pretty nice setup. Everything was pretty much right in the front when you walked in, the comic books and dealers of different merchandise and stuff, toys, games, comics. Had a nice artist alley set up behind there. And then to the left was all the autographs and everything. And they had all the way in the back was some gaming thing. Video games or something, dude? I don't know. I didn't go back there. But
Yeah, I don't understand that, but hey, people were playing it, so more power to them for providing what people want. But I just don't understand paying all that money, driving there, taking your time to go play old console video games and just sit there and play by yourself. Like, they're sitting there literally playing Sonic.
and
I'll do that at home.
I saw something
I
was
don't
like play a real pro. A professional video gamer. You can play against a professional video gamer. Great. That must be fun for some
I
people.
mean, it's kind of neat if you think you got the skills to be like, well, do I really? But
Yeah, you get shut down
There
though,
was-
like, quick. But the best part of it was the wrestling ring, dude.
it's a little much. But they had wrestling there last year as well, but I didn't feel like they held matches. Did they hold matches last year?
Yes, they did, but that DJ, remember they had that DJ when we first went in last year? That
I was
drowned
very
out
thankful
everything.
I was thankful they got rid of the DJ. We suggested it on the last one, so we'll take our credit like we made the decision for them.
Yeah, we made an
But-
executive decision for Keystone Comic Con.
It was extremely obnoxious to have that DJ. They were not funny. I thought it was semi-racist, going on about nonsense, and it was extremely loud. The production of it, I'm sure, cost a pretty penny, and it was just not needed. So why waste the money? And this year they got rid of it. Thank God.
Yeah. And thank goodness the wrestling was only in spurts. And like I said, what is with conventions in Pennsylvania and New Jersey where you have to have wrestlers and then let alone wrestling matches? Oh my God. People
It
were
was
like
loud,
into
man.
it though. Oh yeah. And it was,
Every time somebody got body slammed, people would like jump. They'd be looking through the books, and dealers would be like, "Oh," and they're like, "I know it's coming, but I'm still not used to it." I mean, it was super loud.
yeah, there were some dealers that were closer to the ring and they're like, "Oh, we're so pissed that we have this spot." Cause like people were cheering, they were getting into it and they're trying to, make deals with people and sell their shit. And people are like, "Oh my God, it's annoying." It's like, yeah, we know. Too much for me. Put that in the back and move the gamers up front, I didn't hear any body slams from the gamers.
Or like maybe put that in one of the panel rooms or something. Have like a wrestling panel room, and you can go down there and you have a match as a panel.
Oh yeah. Just away. Just go
You know
away.
what I mean? Like, hey, from 10 to 11, we're having this wrestling event. Go down and watch it. And then it doesn't annoy anybody.
Yeah.
And you get the best of both worlds. If you want to see it, you go see it. If not, it doesn't annoy you.
And I can honestly say that was the number one thing that people were bitching about. If you heard anybody complaining about something, you didn't hear like, "Oh, the lines are disorganized," or the aisles are too small. None of that was true. It was, "Oh my God, the wrestling is so fucking loud." That's what a lot of people were talking about it. That's what I noticed. Dysfunctional Nerdcast advice this time: get rid of the wrestling or move it somewhere else.
Just move it. Like, it's cool you provided it. You gave people, an opportunity to do something. And like you said, people were watching it. So it's like, hey, you provided something people wanted. It's not my thing, but other people liked it. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
but move it to a panel room, man, and then you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and I admit I watched like a minute or two of it because I'm like, I have to see how bad this is. And there's a picture that we posted. It's amateur professional wrestling, but hey, again, you got to give them, like you said, give them props for the gaming and for the wrestling. They're giving the fans what they want. They brought that back because people liked it, but it's got to move. So, but otherwise, I don't know. What'd you think, man? Compared to last year, how would you compare the two?
The big thing I noticed was the venue. I would say was maybe like a quarter of the size smaller than last year.
Yeah.
It was significant enough to notice like instantly.
I'd really noticed in the vendors in the front area, it was smaller. And I don't know if it was because, was it more spread out last year or what, but it just seemed like it was smaller. You are right. And like everything was just bang right there. I felt like I was done with the initial scope of everything. Like I always check shit out quick, be like, okay, what prices are these? Here, the other thing. I do that quick walkthrough. Then I settle into where I'm going to dig. And it was like 5 minutes I walked through. I didn't do that last year.
I mean, like you said, it's not that it was crowded, though. I thought the aisle spacing was really good. I thought the booth spaces were good, that I didn't have problems walking into people's booths like I do at some conventions because it's so tight.
Right. I agree.
Where you can't even, like, get in to look at stuff. So, I mean, it wasn't, like, small in that regard. It just, I don't know if they had less vendors or not, but it definitely was a smaller space. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it was a smaller space, and it seems like there was less, I don't know, in some areas it did seem like there was less spread out. You know what I'm saying? To make it try to look bigger, but really it wasn't. It was less space.
I mean, it didn't have any of the big corporate booths there. Like DC wasn't there. Some of the other like garbage ones you don't want anyway, like Verizon and stuff like that, they weren't there. But those booths do take up a lot of space.
True.
So you need a bigger convention hall. So just in terms of that, you could tell it just wasn't as big.
No Jelly Belly jelly beans. Very upset about that. And
they had Laffy Taffy this year.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, so I stayed away. It scared me. I don't know what it was. But the booths were good. Like you said, you were able to get into every single booth. You weren't hitting your backpack into anybody. Things were spread out very nice. And people's displays, I thought, were really good. You know, you could see everybody's wall books very well. I think because the booths were a little bit bigger, they could spread out things. So overall...
Yeah, I wasn't getting hit while digging either.
No, you weren't elbowing anybody, which might be a crowd thing too. But no, you weren't getting hit. Like I said, my backpack wasn't smacking into people like it usually does. You had elbow room. You could do whatever you want. And I thought the crowd was really cool and friendly. You know, when you're digging through a long box and there's the guy who catches up to you or whatever, and he just patiently waits. He's like, I'm like, oh, sorry, let me move my books because your books are on that, on top of that box next to you. And, oh, no, don't worry, man. Like sometimes you go to like, can you move your books? Well, I'll fucking move them.
I pick them up and throw them.
No, I'm talking about my own.
Fuck out of my way. I got digging to do. I got gold to find in these here boxes.
Okay, so everybody was nice except for Aaron, but now overall, like it was a cool crowd, very friendly. It was, you have to admit too, the show overall is well organized. It's very well organized.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the other thing I thought like 90% of the booths were actually Comic-Con oriented for once. There wasn't a shitload of straight comic dealers, but because there wasn't that many dealers, I guess, in general. But I thought most of them were comics, and if not, they were action figures.
Sure.
I mean, there was like one or two booths that were kind of selling T-shirts, or like they had that Star Wars booth. But again, it was at least pop culture related. Like it was Star Wars. The T-shirts were all Marvel and DC. It at least related to comics in some way. I didn't see like jewelry stands and picture frame stands and a popcorn vendor, and none of that was there.
No, and
I don't even think I saw a sword booth.
I didn't see swords either.
Yeah,
Wow.
so how about it?
Wow.
Convention just got going harder than I realized.
Yeah, damn. And what? There was really one pop booth, right?
Two. There was two.
Was there? Was there? One was like really big up in the front, correct, near the CGC
One up
stand.
in the front, and then there was one all the way off to the left-hand side.
But that
which
was.
I will say, I mean, people can say what they want about pops, and oh my God, why do you need so many pop booths? And it's the same. When I was there Sunday, dude, the comic booths were relatively empty. There's not much digging. Everybody was at these pop booths. I mean, when you talk about the family of four going, and it's mom, dad with Susie and Johnny, they're not looking at comic books. Every one of them is just walking around and looking at pops and buying pops. I actually bought a pop there, and I could have just walked out with it because they had like 30 people waiting. There's people in front of them, to the sides, behind. They had no idea who's taking money next. You could have just walked right off. Like, obviously, I'm not going to do that. I waited. But I'm like, it was packed. Like, to the point where it's like frustrating to try and even pay. But yet the comic booths were dead empty.
What pop figure did you buy?
I bought Dottie from A League of Their Own for wifey.
Oh, okay. You saved yourself there. Really, it's for him, folks, okay?
It is a good movie.
I do like that movie. It is good. Yeah, overall, very well organized. And there wasn't, but you could go to other conventions. There's 4 or 5 pop dealers. And after a while, it's like, how many fucking different, like, do each of them have different ones? Probably, maybe, but majority are probably still the same. Like you said, there was no jewelry, no pillows, none of that shit, which is like kudos to Keystone for keeping it real, And I really thought like the artist alley was set up really well too. Again, wide aisles. So your back wasn't to somebody else's back like other conventions.
Right.
And I thought some of the artists that they had there, all of them, were very well done with their booths and everything. Quality artists were there. Very well done. And where the autographs was far enough away too that if a line did form, you weren't like mushed up against another booth. So Artist Alley.
Yeah, I feel like I've been to shows where they kind of centralize that, and it just makes everything jam-packed. And I don't know if promoters do that on purpose to make it look like the convention's crowded and this happening place. But all it does is make it annoying and loud, and you can't walk through the traffic. They're in the way of just trying to dig for a book. And I like that it was its own separate thing.
Yes, it was very well done. And it was deep enough from where the celebrity was signing, and their queue area was deep enough that even if it spilled out from there, you still had another, like double that before you hit the Artist Alley. And there were no vendors around there. Very well set up, very well organized. And the staff that were there, friendly. I saw them helping out people. Yes, it's their job, but you didn't see any of the, oh, it's over there. People were like very friendly about everything, answering questions, doing things like that. So great crew, great organization. And thank you for not having gutter guards.
Yeah, they were not there either. No bath fitters, none of that.
Yeah.
We gotta talk the dealer booths though, man. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
There was no dollar bins, none. Like, there was literally one.
Yeah, was that where the Iron Maiden books were?
Yes.
Yeah, and he also had that deal, like fill a bag for $20 or $30, right?
So on Sunday he had fill a bag for $10, which, I mean, I got like 50 some books out of it, and my buddy, we split a bag. He got like another 50. I mean, we could have put another 100 books in the bag, but there just was really nothing that we wanted to take. But I ended up pulling some. I didn't even realize it when I got them, but some ratio variants of like Vampirella. I got some 1 of 25s and 1 of 50s.
Wow.
Out of its bin. So like one book is a $20-$30 book, and I got 50 of them for $5.
You best be
I mean,
selling those.
He was giving stuff away. Like, I got trade paperbacks. I got like a Walking Dead hardcover. You know, it's like 20 books in one. $1.
Wow.
It's like a no-brainer. And then he had all these statues 50% off. And I got a Wonder Woman one. You know, it was $130. I got it for $65. And then I really should have bought. He had a Hobgoblin. It was $150. He got it half off for $75. But I just I couldn't carry it between those two statues. And I know he was going to eat at the Knicks. Best sandwich of all time.
You had another one?
I was like, I'm not fucking carrying this thing around. And I was too lazy to go back. So.
You had another sandwich on Sunday?
Fuck yeah.
Wow. You ate two unhealthy meals within a span of like 2 days.
That's why you go clean all week, man. You go clean and then you can eat like a pig at Comic Con.
Yeah, okay. That's like ordering the Whopper. Yeah, that's like ordering the Whopper meal with a Diet Coke. Okay.
That guy was blowing shit out, so that was kind of cool. But every other booth, man, they were $3 a book.
Yeah, I mean, one of our favorite vendors is Zap Comics, and last year they were $1, right?
Yeah, $1.
Then we went to Garden State, they were $2. Okay, that's fine. This year, $3. I'm like, wow.
For the same quality of books, the same age, whatever, and they had less books than they had at either one of those shows.
Yes. I think Keystone last year they had a lot.
Floor.
Sure.
Oh yeah, they had a ton at Keystone last year.
Yeah, and
this year was just all on the table, nothing on the floor.
And it seemed to be the norm was like $2 and $3 books. JC Comics was there, and great booth. I got my Action Comics and Flash from there, but they were $3, and I didn't mind paying that because I'm not going to see those again. And you know, they're $12-$15 books. I'll be happy to pay that. You know, you're not going to see them everywhere. I'll splurge a little on that, but I'm also not going to buy 40 fucking books from that booth. The other thing I saw too, I don't know if you noticed, was the sets that people had put together of these runs.
That was a big thing, more than most other cons. I think almost every booth had sets.
Yeah, and I was like, what is with this? It's like buy 2 sets, get 1 free. You know, they had deals like that, and I'm like, I don't know. I just never really saw that before. It's not that I didn't take notice. I've never fucking seen that before. Like, in that amount, like you said, every booth almost seemed like it had these sets and runs, and I'm like, and they weren't cheap either, man. They really weren't. And you think about it, they're 50-cent fucking books. You might get one good book in there.
I saw some good ones. Like, a guy had a Planet Hulk run for like $90, which isn't bad. I mean, considering Planet Hulk might go for like 50, 60 itself. But I don't know. I mean, they were reasonably priced, I thought, to be honest.
Some of them were, but dude, some of the other ones. If you're
buying a key book, you probably want just Planet Hulk. Like, I have just Planet Hulk. I don't care about the other issues. I'm not going to spend the extra $30, $40 just to have the run. I'd rather just have the key book.
Right. But it seemed like
you're paying for the convenience, because I know I could piece those together and pay $50 for Planet Hulk and then buy the other issues for $1 or $2 and come out at maybe $70 instead of $100 or whatever. But is it the convenience of trying to find them, and you know, you might not get them all in one shot, whatever. I don't know. It was priced all right.
I don't know. Maybe for something like that, but you look at some of these other, like, you know, shitty Marvel runs or DC runs that nobody gives a fuck about, and they're like, you know, 10, 15 books, and, you know, so what? You charge $20 for them, you know? It was just like, I can't get rid of these any other way. I'm just going to put it together and get rid of them. It's like, you don't need all the other books. You're not going to throw them out. You're just still going to keep them. But it just, I don't know. It didn't appeal to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't buy any. So.
No, me neither. And I wouldn't either. Like, even if you're like, you went there with your family and you're like, oh, let me just buy a run of shit for the kid. I was like, who the fuck cares? Overall, though, the quality of the books and otherwise and things that were there, I mean, quality was, I think, 50-50 between, you know, what's really just filler shit that you need and really cool books of value. What do you think?
I thought the books were pretty good overall. I mean, the one booth I hit, I did buy like 40 or 50 books off the $3 guy. And all the books that I pulled were $20 to $50 a piece out of this bin. So to get a Captain Marvel #1 out of there, $50 book, like I'll pay $3 all day.
Who's
I don't
leaving
even
that
care
in?
about
Who's leaving that in a bin? Really?
I have no idea, man. But this was the same guy I pulled the Mickey Mantle autograph from. I looked it up when I got home. At first, I was like, "There's no way this is real," you know. And then he had about 10 copies of it in there, but only one was signed. The rest were just the regular issue. It was in the middle of it. You probably just saw Mickey Mantle. The book is literally a worthless $2 book. You know, not paying attention to it, but somebody somehow got that book signed and had it in there. And I was like, well, maybe they did like facsimile editions or something as like a variant or something. I looked everything up, nothing said it. I'm like, you know what? It's $3. I'll take the gamble. Well, when I got home, I did the research on it. The photo's from 1951. The signature on it says 1951. He underlined it. I looked up JSA and PSA certified signatures of that photo because you can buy a 8x10 of it with the certification on it, and it was the exact same signature, the exact same. The date looked exactly the same. He underlined it the same. There is nothing to says it's not going to be real. So I'm actually sending it out to CBCS for $33. They'll grade it and certify it. I'm pretty sure it's going to come in at a 9.8. Like the book looks flawless. So you pay $15 for the authentication of the signature, and you pay another $18 to get it graded. So if that comes back as a 9.8 signed Mickey Mantle, there's none on census.
Wow.
So I could legitimately have the only 9.8 signed Mickey Mantle. Like, who has that?
Hopefully not you for long because you're selling that shit.
No, dude, I think I would definitely keep that. That would be like such a gem to have in the collection, man. Just it'll be encapsulated in plastic forever. You could probably get close to $1,000 for it, but I don't know, man. I just feel like that's one to like pass down to the kid type of thing.
Wow. I'm shocked. I thought you would sell it.
That was the coolest find, you know. But other than that, I pulled a lot of key books, and it was hard to buy. I'm selling so much shit on eBay. I don't even have time to sell what I have. I don't have room for the shit. But there were so many books in his bin that I just sold. It was like, you know, you're getting $20 for it. And they're $3 books in his thing. And I'm like, I could be here all day and just resell. But I was truly just trying to stay away from that, get what I actually wanted, not what I want to sell. But I thought the quality was there, man. And there was a lot of good, rare, like variant books that he had. I mean, he was selling them for $20 a piece, but when they're a $50 book, it's good price and they're hard as shit to get. I mean, wall books I thought were the typical stuff. For whatever reason, I saw a ton more Venom, and I don't know if that's just because of the Carnage stuff coming out right now. Marvel's doing a huge Absolute Carnage tie-in, so it's kind of like really amping up. But I thought that was the most popular type of books on the walls. Other than that, it was all your typical MCU Marvel-related stuff. You know, your Miss Marvels, Black Panthers, the typical anything that appeared in a movie. Eternals 1 was a popular one.
Right.
Shit like that. So, you know, I bought a first Gamora off the wall. It's all those MCU type of books.
Sure. It's what's hot. It's expected.
I thought, I mean, from the price range, I mean, you're going to go anywhere from pretty much the $3, and I saw a guy buy a book for $19,000.
Were you jealous?
I mean, not really. To me, that's just like stupid money. I don't care what the book is. I'm not paying that. I don't care how much money I have either.
You
but,
say
I mean,
that
it's
now.
Cool walking through Torpedo Comics, and you see, you know, a Batman #1 there.
Oh my God.
I mean, their booth looked more like a museum than a booth.
Yeah.
But it's cool to look at the books.
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah. Like the girl's like the woman behind the counter. She's like, can I help you with anything? You want to see anything? I'm like, no, I'm just fucking drooling. It's
Yeah, like we're way too poor for these books.
yeah. I mean, and the shit that they had that would be like, oh, I could spend like $150 on that. It's like, a 2.0 of something. I'm like, but you would have it, right? So, be kind of cool. But no, that's a drooling place. Wonder how much they actually fucking sold there. And their display, dude, was like glass cases, and it was like, it looked like a fucking store. Got to move all that shit in. How much did they sell? But if you sell one book,
you sell one book is what they got to do. Yeah. So I'm sure they sold one. If you're a high roller, there's books there for you.
Oh yeah. Just not us.
Well, you gotta definitely watch your prices. I mean, Michael Mora book. I mean, you looked at the books with me at that one guy. It was double what I paid, and I got a much nicer grade than what he had for half the price.
Oh yeah,
so, definitely do your shopping around. There was deals I had, and there was some you could get ripped off on. I thought Walking Dead books were extremely cheap. I saw like a 9.4 graded Michonne for $250. I mean, that book was like untouchable 2 years ago. So like definitely now's the time to buy in on that stuff. I saw all kinds of issues going cheap. I only saw one issue of The Boys though, and that was $150, which I think is a crazy price.
Wow. Yeah.
So.
I agree with that, just because it's a show. Come on. No, I mean, overall, like, there were some boosts that 25 for 20 kind of deal. Like, you got to really search through those to find your $40, $50 book. But then you had, you're going to find, I thought you found more in the $3 bin that were worth more, obviously, But I'm just saying, like, booth-wise, it was 50-50 as far as, like, from the $1 to $3 range, and really the best booths, I mean, quality-wise was the JC Comics, I think, for the price. $3, like you said, and you're pulling that shit out. That was a great booth. Zap was, if you needed it, you bought it.
I got a first appearance Nomad out of there, too, from Captain America. So that's who Captain America turns into once he kind of quits. And there's rumors that, hey, with Steve Rogers not being in it, do they kind of bring him back, but not really, and make him Nomad? The book's pretty hot. I mean, it's $40, $50 book in high grade. And it was high grade book in there for $3.
Wow.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, and it wasn't like overall annoying with all the other vendors I thought were cool. The action figure vendors that were there. Lots of Star Wars vintage figures were there. You had your pick of those. Although the retro figures that just came out, what do we see? A set for 120 for the
120, yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
They're on Entertainment Earth right now for $60.
Yeah, I know. That's where I got mine. I don't know what that guy was thinking, but
well, I smoothed our local comic shop, so we're trying to get him on the podcast again. We'll see if that happens. I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. I will hear back. He's a funny guy, but he's out there, man. He's not going to remember even talking to us, I don't think.
Yeah, but this time he took a picture of the business card because he's like, I'll lose the business card, but if I take a picture of it, it's on my phone. And I'll look through my phone and be like, what's this? And then I'll remember. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he always seems interested. Like we've both talked to him about it before, and he's always like, yeah, that'd be really cool. Just sit around, you know.
He's super nice, but you can tell he likes to have a good time, and I think he makes him forget some things.
Yeah.
But I bought a book off him. I bought a Zombie Tramp 1, CGC 9.2. He had it for $60. I didn't really haggle the price because I've seen him go for like 100 raw, so I was like fine with it. But then he was cool and just gave me $5 back for like no reason.
Because he's cool.
Like, that was nice of him, you know.
Plus, we told him we were local. We knew a shop. We'd been in there. I think that, helps too.
Yeah.
But he is a nice guy. So hopefully we'll have him on. And we talked to a couple other people in the indie comic world. You turned me on to the Absolute Comics group. Betty Powell, right? With the book White Widow.
He does White Widow, which is an extremely hot book right now. It's, was on all the spec sites. It's an independent, like it was a Kickstarter, gained a lot of traction. There's a lot of like really hot covers for it. Does some super cool lenticulars. It's like the sexy pinup cover art, but decent read. I thought the interiors were a little weak when I got the book, but he was cool. He signed it, and sounds like we'll have him on the podcast.
Yeah, he was very open about the processes that he went through. He came out from behind the booth. He was showing us the lenticular covers. Dude, they are awesome. They are really cool. And stuff that you don't see. It's not cheesy lenticular that you see from Marvel and DC and shit. It's like pretty fucking badass and fluid and smooth and what you want to see.
It's like legitimately one of the best lenticulars I've ever seen on anything.
Oh yeah, like clothes disappear.
A DVD case, a sports card, a comic, whatever, poster. Like it was flawless.
Yeah, when clothes disappeared, they disappeared. It was really cool without having to turn your head at that weird angle and hold the book just so. It was pretty easy to move it, and you're just like, holy shit, that's awesome. He was also nice enough to show us some video on his phone of some things that he was working on. Very open, very cool. So hopefully we'll have Benny Powell on in a couple weeks or so.
It sounds
cool
like
guy.
We could have recorded there, but we were both in agreement that, hey, why get some, a couple questions and not have the greatest audio? We'll just have him on, do like a full episode with him and, see what he's coming out with next. And he's saying he's selling higher than a lot of Marvel and DC books. So get the whole process of how he came to do that and where he's going next.
Yeah. Why would we compromise quality at the show? But we'll compromise quality by having Aaron phone in tonight. So anyway, also in the indie world was I was talking to a writer and artist from Source Point Press. I was just happened to be walking by the table, and they were set up right at the beginning when you walked into the convention hall. And I saw them walk by, but I kind of walked by them because I like to do my whole overview and take notes and stuff of what's going on in the show so we could give a good review and, see who the vendors are and everything. But towards the end of the day, I walk by, and this book catches my eye. And I don't know why, because it was on the edge of the table. It's like, like a ship from the 1800s or something in the ocean and sharks and skulls. And I stopped and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And the dude's like, oh, yeah, he goes, check out the inside. Check out the art on the inside. I'm like, well, the cover just looks like traditional tattoo art, a traditional American tattoo art. And he goes, open up inside. Inside, the story is told in traditional American tattoo art. I'm like, that's fucking cool. I've never fucking seen that. It's different. It's neat. So I start talking to the guy. Here, he's the writer of the story. Ben Goldsmith is his name. He writes for Source Point Press. And just like bullshitting with them. And I was like, you know what? I said before from Garden State, want to start reading some of these indie comics. You never know, right, man? Like which one's going to be the next up and coming thing. That's why we checked out, Benny Powell and shit. So I was talking to him, and it's like, hey, he goes, what's your shirt? And I tell him, he's like, oh, it's a podcast that we do, etc. I said, do you do podcast interviews? Absolutely. All right. He signs the cover of the book. I put it up on, I think it's up on Facebook under what I got. Very cool dude. He's out there too, but fun as shit. He was funny to talk to. So he already got in touch with us, working on setting up a time for him to come on. And his artist, Davey Broyles, who did the inside art. This guy is like really cool too. Davey's from Michigan. Ben's from up in New England area. But they're both like, hey, we'll call in. We'll do something. Again, it's cool to have these indie guys, and you never know which book and which artist is going to get hot. They're signing your books,
Source Point Press is no joke. They have a book out, Dead End Kids, just came out, issue 2. It's on the top Hot 10 comic list for this week.
That's awesome.
So they're not a joke company by any means. I mean, it's very legit.
No, and it seemed like it. And they all these guys have their shit together. They had a decent booth and willing to talk to you about it and everything. And they weren't like pushy and selly or anything like that. You want to buy a book, you buy a book. You don't, you don't. But really cool dudes to talk to, man. So hopefully we'll have on.
It should be a blast, that guy. He was definitely a trip.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were him and I were shooting a shit, and the lanyard that I use for shows is Grateful Dead Dancing Skeletons, and he noticed it, and he's like, "Oh, you into the Dead? Yeah, you know." He's talking about Fish, which I'm not a big fan of, but you know, it's cool once you start talking to people and everything. And the guy's animated. He's a great storyteller. So even just listening to him, he tells a good fucking story. So interested to have him on too, and artist Davey as well. So pretty neat. And when he signed the book, on the boat, he wrote SSDNC. He goes, "I have named the boat the SSDNC." And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. He's like, "What's that on your shirt?" He's like looking at my shirt, making sure he's got it right and everything. I'm like, that's pretty cool, man. It's like personalized, which I don't usually do, but that's fucking badass. It's like,
that is cool.
You know, it's the DNC book. You can't have it though, dude, but you know, I'll just kind of.
You want to rip it in half and like we can each have half?
No, I'll let you have it half the year. I'll have it half the year. How's that? No,
I'd rather rip it in half.
No, it's a good book, and it's called, just so you guys have the title, Beyond the Demon, the Sea. It's kind of a cool, like, little pirate shanty story kind of weird thing. It's pretty cool. But again, it's the independence, man. I don't collect new shit, as I told you before. I want the old shit and the independence. Fuck modern crap. So we got to get into. Are we done with that part of the convention?
Yeah, we got to get to the reason anybody went to Keystone Comic Con.
Yeah,
which of course Tom Holland.
Keystone had to save themselves, I think, after Sylvester Stallone canceled, and a couple of other people canceled as well. So this was a great way for them to show that they are kind of a real deal here.
So he was there Sunday only. I wasn't going to initially go to the panel. I woke up without an alarm set or anything, feeling half like ass at like 5:30 a.m. I said, fuck, if I'm up, I might as well get ready and go. So I hit the road about 6:30, got down there at 7:30. They were opening the doors at 8, you know, to get you into the panel room. So there was a few thousand people there already by that point, but the panel room was huge. So there was no problem with seating. They let us into the convention 8 o'clock on the dot. We got in there. We waited maybe in the hallway for about an hour till about 9. And that's when they actually let us sit down. He went on at 10 o'clock on the dot. You know, prior to that, they had pretty decent entertainment, actually. They were keeping the crowd into it. They played some music. They had people up on stage. Like anyone who's dressed as Spider-Man came up. And then they did like a singing thing with 4 different people that they had to kind of finish the song as they would sing it. But they were like making fun of the people, but not harshly, you know, just having a good time. It was actually entertaining. So I kept it moving pretty quick. And then he was on for 45 minutes. So 10:45, he was done. And then they set you loose to the convention after that. So I was set up for the first autograph at 1:30. And our initial plan was we're going to go right from the Q&A, and we're just going to wait in line. I don't really need to do anything else. Well, they said you're not allowed to wait in line until 12:30. That's when his security gets there. So after that, we kind of walked around and did that, you know, additional shopping. Come 12:30, the lines were kind of a cluster to get to him. We actually got there at 12, and there was already a line forming where they said you can't form a line. There was like 5 foot after that, people just formed a line anyway, because what else are you going to do? And they didn't want people lining up, so there's lines in 4 different directions. So, of course, like, they just choose one line. Well, some of those people just walked up 2 minutes prior while there's other people in the other lines waiting for over an hour. So people are pissed off trying to get in. His security was crazy, dude. So when you get into the convention, you have to go through a bag check, through a metal detector, and you go through the con security. Well, once you get to his booth, before you even can get to, his snake line, you have to go through his personal security, another bag check, another metal detector.
Wow, they're not fucking around.
So you snake through the lines, and then once you actually, because he's like behind this big squared off curtain area, so you can't even see him while you're in the line. Well, once you get to where you're actually going to go behind the curtain, you then have to give everything you own to the people there. You can't have a phone. You can't have a backpack. I couldn't have my poster tube. You literally can only take up the item you're getting signed. That is it. And then once you get behind there, there's probably, I don't know, there must have been 4 people there watching you like a hawk. You don't do anything. I mean, absolutely no pictures. But he was relatively nice. I mean, they kept it moving, I guess. He would shake your hand. He'd say hello. He did quotes on the poster. He'd sign it with your marker type of thing. But he's not going to sit there and chit-chat you to death either, which is understandable. There was thousands of people there for him. I mean, the line was a disaster.
Yeah, and you got to expect that with someone of that magnitude and star power at this time. You're right. Just keep the line moving. Keep people happy. That's what they're there for.
So he was supposed to start signing at 1:30. We ended up about 20th in line, and he did not get to our autograph until about 3:30. So the line didn't even really start moving until about 3:15. So I don't know what made him so late, because he was at the panel on time and he left the panel on time. He did have a photo op prior to that, like I think it was 11:30, and from the people that were at the photo op that we talked to in line, everything went smooth and ran on time. But what happened between the photo op and the autograph, I have no idea.
I think he took a nap, probably, because he was in California the night before.
He was supposed to do another photo op at 3:30 and then do his final autograph signing at 4:30. Well, he only started signing for us at 3:30, and we were the front of the line. There's no way he finished that line. There was 1,000 people in that line. There's no way he finished prior to like 4:30. So that pushed back all the other stuff. I have no idea how late he was there or if he canceled on people. I don't know how that went. I know you said they sent a message saying things are delayed, bear with them.
Yeah, there was like a message at like 5 o'clock on Facebook. Like there was a little bit of a delay, but he will get to everybody kind of thing. So I don't know what that was about.
I mean, the autograph, other than having to wait for I don't know what reason, it went smooth otherwise. I mean, we got it. He was nice, all that. JSA was there to authenticate the signature. So for $10, you could get, the hologram sticker on. They took a picture of it. It posts on their website. It comes with a certificate card. So if you were to resell it, you have the proof of it. So I did that for $10. If you're already spending $250 on a signature, I'm getting $10, certification on it.
Sure.
So that was all cool, but I guess we got to get to like the panel was the main part really for as far as news.
Yeah. So what you got to report from that?
I mean, we kind of alluded to it a little bit in the earlier part, if you can remember that far back, since we're like over 2 hours here. But the main thing coming out of it is, they asked him, what are your feelings about Marvel and the Sony split? And, he said he can't really say too much. It's still in contract negotiations, which means there is still open communication. It's not finalized. And he must have said in the 45 minutes 4 or 5 times how excited he is to keep the role of Spider-Man, about Spider-Man 3, about where are the characters going. Like, it's 100% he's on board.
Good. That's got to be a little bit of a relief, I think, for just Spider-Man fans in general, right? That it's not over. Yeah. People love him as Spider-Man. I do. I like him. I really do. So it is a relief.
I mean, when he came out, the place went nuts. I mean, I did post a video up on Facebook, but it really doesn't do justice because I'm recording it on my shitty phone. I tried to take audio for this. You're going to try to dub in at least the one clip about the Marvel. We'll see how successful that goes. So if you hear it, that means it's successful. If not, it means it did not work.
I'm just so grateful that Marvel changed my life and allowed my dreams to come true. And Sony allowed me to continue living my dream. So,
The other clips I got, they're kind of bad audio-wise, so I think we're going to skip them. But I can kind of rehash what he was talking about on most of the questions. He did a funny thing. They asked him, because he's from England, and they asked him about, even during the interview, he was kind of slipping in between English and American, like back and forth a little bit.
With the accent.
And I don't even think I don't even think he realized it. So they asked him, like, how do you do it for the movie? And he did a line from the movie, which was kind of cool. So maybe I hope we can get the audio of that at least. And it was like perfect American. And then he says he has a hard time when he has to ad-lib because he has to think about what he's going to say. So then his voice comes out in an English accent. When he memorized it and knows what he's going to say, he can concentrate on doing his American accent and he can deliver it with no problem. So when he was ad-libbing in the movie, he kept going like straight English and fucking it up. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's got to be hard too, man.
The other thing, I mean, I guess he was bullied pretty hard in life, in real life. And, of course, Peter's always bullied. So he was kind of relating to that. And he did the typical, Peter's a good guy. He's just trying to do the best. He did pander a lot to the crowd, how Philadelphia is the greatest. Everybody considers the MCU, all these actors and movies, but it's also the audience that makes the MCU. And of course, everybody ate that up. He loved talking about how great Favreau is and the Lion King's the greatest thing ever. Go see it. RDJ's the most perfect person in the world. Shit like that, That's, I guess, to be typical. He's obviously not going to go out there and badmouth people, although certain guests we've had have done that. They tried to ask him, I guess, a question about how to keep like Marvel movies fresh, and he said it's so hard because even himself, he'll watch a show. If he's not hooked on a show within the first 10 minutes, he moves on and does something else. So with these movies, and there's so many different shows, so much to watch, so many streaming services, etc. It's so rare that you have a company that can do it. And he said, for whatever reason, when that Marvel logo appears, everybody's already invested. You don't need to wait 10 minutes into the movie to see if you like it. It's like, oh, Marvel logo, I'm going to like it. And you're in it. And he doesn't know the reason for it, but that's the case. And I tend to almost agree with that.
Oh, so I agree too. I agree too. You're going to like it even if it's bad.
Yeah. So the other interesting one that they came up, he was supposed to have a cameo in Spider-Verse. And it fell through for whatever reason. But he did a little bit more pandering to the crowd, saying how great Miles is. Eventually it's going to be in the MCU. He can't wait. Must-have character. He didn't know what his role was going to be in Spider-Verse, but he was definitely on board to do it, and for whatever reason, it fell through.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was kind of neat. And then he said, well, how great RDJ is. He was saying how, he's such a professional, and being on set with him, he realized, no matter, he is probably the biggest star in the world right now, Robert Downey.
Probably could be. I mean,
he kind of has it all, and you see him on set, and he knows his lines. He comes prepared. He knows literally every single person, every crew person's name. He works with everybody. He's not arrogant. He doesn't demand things. And he said it's just refreshing to see somebody like a mega star and super down to earth. So take that for what it is. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what he said.
I hope that is true. For all the shit that he went through, he's a success story. He has a redemption story. So I can believe that he is very grateful to be where he is, that he knows crew members' names. He comes prepared. He doesn't fuck off, and he helps. He mentored Tom Holland, That's what it sounds like. And he's a role model for younger actors, He did say him, Tom Holland himself and Peter Parker are one and the same, because their roles as far as in life and their journey of kind of being a little kid, not really much, into this mega thing is a direct correlation to what Spider-Man went through. And, and his relationship with RDJ is very similar from what he said. Yeah, there is a parallel. You can clearly see that. I agree.
And that's probably why he's good in the role. It makes it more believable, as you can get with a Spider-Man character.
With a comic book character. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a guy who fucking swings around on buildings, but it's just like RDJ. He is Iron Man in real life. That's why he's so perfect for the role. I think the last thing I kind of remember was he was working on a new movie that he supposedly has to lose like 20 pounds for, and if you see the pictures of Tom Holland, he is skinny as shit. I don't know how he's losing 20 pounds without probably dying. But he was kind of like making jokes that he was like, oh, I'm kind of pudgy, I got to lose 20 pounds, but I like pizza too much. I'm like, dude, you don't have 20 pounds to lose. Like, you need to gain 50 pounds.
Is he playing a drug addict in a movie?
I don't know. He didn't say, so I don't know what movie he's referring to. I'm sure it's on IMDb. Yeah, so other than that, he kind of just said he was excited for Marvel. He appreciates the opportunity both him and Marvel and Sony gave him. He seemed cool, man. He was real funny, down to earth. He gave like some life experiences. He actually just told a story about his mom, like calling the set when he first started Avengers, and they were keeping him in the harnesses too long. And she called like the director and was like, "You better make sure he gets to go to the bathroom so his kidneys don't get messed up." And he's having his personal assistant come over to him and ask like, "Oh, how's your bathroom break?" He's like, "Fine, why?" And they're like, "Well, your mom called." Like, imagine that. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, have your mom call you at work, let alone on a freaking Marvel movie. Can you imagine?
Well, he was a kid, right? On the first one?
He's only 23 now, he said. So
yeah, so he was barely 18 at that point. Did he bring up anything about the Peter tingle?
No.
Disappointed.
He did say he was injured a lot, though. He's like, I make myself sound like a wuss, but he did that stilt scene in the Venice area where he's kind of like hopping on the logs.
Yeah.
And they offered him shin guards, and he was like, nah, I don't need them. And then literally the first take, he smacked his shin off. He's like, I have not been the same since. And I mean, how long did that film ago?
Yeah.
That's a while. And then he screwed up his ankle doing something else. So he's like, right now I can't do a backflip like he normally does. And he was saying he goes to Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and he was with, I guess, the guy who plays Flash. And Flash is like, do a backflip for the kids. And he's like, yo, dude, I cannot do a backflip in this suit and my ankle. Like, I can't do it. The suit's too tight when he wears the Spider-Man suit. And he's like, I need full extension. There's no way I can do it. And Flash is just like, do it, dude. Kids, man, you got to do it for the kids. The kids want a backflip. You got to do it. And he's like, yo, shut up, man. I can't do it. And then he said he ended up doing it, though. He got it. He was a little nervous, but he got it. And then he was like, oh, but I pulled my stomach while doing it. He's like, this is why I sound like a wuss. Everything I do, I get in. So he was funny about it,
Oh, it sounds like
a
decent panel. He answered everybody's questions. He was, he played the crowd right, and not in a bad way, He gave the crowd what they wanted. He's an entertainer too, not just in movies, but he has to entertain a crowd and keep it interesting. So it's pretty cool he brought in all those personal anecdotes and stuff.
It was fun. I'm not a panel guy. I very seldom go to them. I think this is like the fourth panel I've ever gone to because I just don't care enough to go. And like one of the other ones, has been Jamie Lee, and I saw like Wes Craven and Eli Roth. That's it. I don't go to the ones at the horror shows. I don't go to comic ones. But I'm like, this is Tom Holland. It's a big deal. I wanted to see what he'd say with the Marvel shit. But it was an entertaining 45 minutes, man. I'm really appreciative that I got to do it, that Keystone hooked us up. I got like right in the middle. I was maybe 30 feet away from him. I was right in the middle, like in the premium seating. So that all worked perfect, man. It was a fun time. So glad I woke up on time.
You're lucky you woke up on time.
I got to say, though, the premium pass was a fucking bust, man. That thing cost $150 extra, right, if you were to buy it.
Okay.
So our friend had it. He did not get any special privilege in the autograph line. He had to wait with me. I sat directly next to him in the panel. He didn't get into the show any earlier. I don't know what the $150 got you, other than you could buy an autograph ticket before they sold out. But they didn't sell out before general audience could get them anyway. So literally the $150 was for nothing.
I'd be a little annoyed at that.
Yeah, so he was kind of pissed. Like, I think you probably should have got maybe to the front of the autograph line, maybe have roped off section for the seating. Like, they could get in earlier than we could by 20 minutes, I think he was in. But there was so few of them, it didn't matter. So that when they filled in general audience, we sat right next to him.
Now, was that premium for the show for the weekend or premium just for Tom Holland?
It was for the entire show. So he also got John Carpenter was there. You didn't get any special privileges for that line. He didn't get like a special con bag, so you don't get like an exclusive poster. Some places give out T-shirts or even like, one of those chintzy backpacks. You didn't get anything like that. I've seen other shows give out like CGC submission tickets, so you basically get a free graded book. He didn't get anything like that. He literally got nothing out of the $150.
Yeah, that doesn't sound cool, man.
So the only thing it got you was a chance to buy his autograph ticket a day earlier than everybody else. But the fact it didn't sell out, and I could order mine at the same time or the day after, no problems, says he wasted his money. So I think they should have tried to do something to accommodate.
I agree, especially for that much more extra. You got to throw people a bone, man.
I do have to laugh. So he had a Homecoming poster signed, and for whatever reason, he wanted him to sign "That's Awesome." He spelled awesome AEWSOME.
That's awesome. Was he pissed? Like, was he angry?
At first he was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny," and then he's like, "Would they spell it different in England?" I'm like, "I don't think so, dude. It's not another language. Like, you can't accent scripture." And then he was, as it went longer and longer, he was kind of like irritated by it. So I think once it's hanging on his wall and he looks at it every day, he's probably going to become pissed.
So he spent $150 on a premium ticket he didn't really fucking need, and then spent the money on an autograph, and he spells a word wrong.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a fail. Sorry, dude. I'd be upset.
It was funny because then the one other thing I forgot in the panel, he says something about Peter going to college and how smart Peter is, and then Tom Holland's like, "Last school I went to, I was 16 years old. That's as much education as I have." And he kind of made it sound like, "Look where I'm at, and I'm only 16, right?" But then he immediately realized, kind of like, "Oh man, there's kids in the audience." He goes, but no, that's not a good example. That's a terrible thing. All kids go to school, listen to your parents, do your homework. But you spelled awesome wrong. Yeah. So that's why you probably finished at 16.
Yeah, I was going to say, go to school so you can learn to spell awesome properly. Now, let me ask you a question. Your buddy gets the Homecoming poster signed. You got the Far From Home poster. You did not like Far From Home as much as Homecoming and said, you kind of really bashed it a little bit on the review and made fun of me for liking it so much. Why the Far From Home poster?
When I get posters signed, I'm very strategic with which ones they get. So, for instance, Halloween, when I got Jamie Lee, I wanted an H2O poster because she's on the poster. So when it came to Spider-Man, Far From Home is literally the only Spider-Man poster where Tom Holland is on it. It's him without the mask. So all the Homecoming ones, it's just him. It could be honestly a CGI picture that they just did. It's not even him. If I'm getting it signed and I'm meeting the person, I want the person's photo on the item I get them autographed.
Fair enough. I just had to ask because you bashed the movie so much.
Strictly the only reason. If I couldn't get that poster, I was going to get the Homecoming one where he's laying down in front of the skyline.
Yeah.
That was my second favorite because I think the Far From Home poster where it's like the Spider-Man head with just the passport badges on it is one of the worst posters I've ever seen. To have that signed by Tom Holland is stupid to me. But I'm like, this one has his photo on. And I saw Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be at Ace Comic Con. It is in Chicago, but he's only $175. So I could always get Jake Gyllenhaal on it at this point.
You could. That'd be pretty cool, man.
We'll see.
Awesome. So overall good experience for you at the Tom Holland experience.
I contemplated it, for the day the autograph came out. I was like, $250 is a lot, but looking back at it, I'm super glad I did it. It was a fun time. I do feel like it was kind of once in a lifetime. And he was cool at least. Now that I have it, I like it, so I'll have it forever, man.
Dude, you would have spent $650 on Sylvester Stallone. So what are you talking about? $250 for fucking Tom Holland? Come on. We know the fucking truth here. The fans know the truth. But yeah, so anything else we got to talk about for Keystone?
That's it, man. We got to wrap this shit up. It's long overdue.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to mention was the episode brought to you by the fine folks at 4-State Comic Con. It's going to be in Harrisburg, September 21st and 22nd. You can go to 4state.com. You can find out what guests are going to be there, where the vendors. It's at the Harrisburg Mall here in Pennsylvania. We're going to be in attendance, do a full review like we did for Keystone. So I've never been to this show. I'm looking forward to it. So check it out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Something different and pretty kind of local to us. So, but yet a different area of the state we don't normally get to. So
yeah, it's going to be the whole like middle and western part of the state. So hopefully we get some new bins to dig, man.
Yeah, it'd be interesting too. I want to check out the indie stuff in that area. So, cool, very cool. So thanks a lot.
And then next episode is going to be It Chapter 2.
Ooh.
Movie review. So we have not had a review in quite a while.
We haven't because the summer was weird.
There's not a lot of big blockbusters. It's kind of weird, but it is coming next week, man. And you said the reviews are kind of wishy-washy. We'll see for ourselves, and our score is the only one that matters, man.
That's right. The true unbiased reviews from us at Dysfunctional Nerdcast. So, as mentioned earlier, you can reach us by email, dysfunctionalnerdcast@gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Dysfunctional Nerdcast. We're the ones that pop up because we are the originators, the original. And the Twitter, dude, what is it?
At the Nerdcast.
So don't forget to check that out too. Lots of cool stuff there. So that wraps up.
You ever notice our phone podcasts are always the longest? I think it's because we're not in the same room and we can stomach each other longer.
I don't know about that. I think they're longer because we're like waiting for someone else to say something first. No, you go. No, you go. That's why these are the worst to edit because of the pauses and shit that are in there. But we bring you quality at the end. So,
Good try.
yeah. So that wraps up the episode, I guess.
So until next time, have a fun episode.